Good evening. Welcome to another episode of Spilling Tea. I'm your host, Tiffany Daniels. We are going back to that horrible world known as the JRC, but first, the disclaimers and the trigger warnings. If you're unfamiliar with the Stop the Shocks campaign or the campaign against the troubled teen industry, you're going to see pertinent links right there in the description box. We have Autistic Hoya's massive archive where we get the bulk of our materials regarding the JRC for this channel. We also have the article written by Neuroclastic, a small non-for-profit started by autistics for autistics. They interviewed over 800 ABA professionals in regards to the JRC's so-called behavior modification program. It's the very same article that got so deep under the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center's skin, they did threaten them with a defamation lawsuit if they didn't remove it from the website. Obviously, they didn't listen. So, folks, considering that, please read the article. We got a link to their GoFundMe in there as well because, unlike the JRC, we don't have unlimited streams of money that we're able to access on a dime. All right? All right, to the trigger warnings. When we talk about places like the Judge Rotenberg Educational Center or Agape Boarding School for Boys, you're going to hear vivid descriptions of and catch clips or surveillance footage of people with mental health issues and disabled people being tortured and abused. If you got young children present, please make sure to go ahead and utilize the headphones. Also, folks, this channel is marked not for kids for a reason. We do use profanity and speak on dark subjects. If your child's 16 and younger and they are watching this, parental supervision is advised. Now, before we get started, I am more than well aware of the clusterfuck pretty every single minority in this country has been affected by. Okay? The disabled rights movement have been working behind the scenes, calling in every single political favor that we can. But we are dealing with a bunch of absolutely spineless individuals, folks. You can call a lot. And I know a lot of you are. I'm doing my more typical thing of you owe me. We've had at least for now, at least the rights in the state has been safeguarded, but considering how it looks like due to them getting rid of the Department of Education that the IDEA is about to be gutted. And I do mean gutted. By the time they're done, it's not going to even resemble anything that you and I may be familiar with. Yeah, we're getting assaulted on all fronts. That includes, last night, getting the information that, due to the fact, for whatever reason, either Elon doesn't know how to read, or his little lackey boys don't know how to read, or they are more into coding than they are into reading comprehension. Whatever the case may be, a transitions program had all its federal funding pulled simply because the word transition was in it. Nobody bothering to read that it has to do with transition age kids getting ready to transfer from high school into the workforce or secondary education. We are getting hit on all fronts. At this point, even trying to put everything together yet with things as up in the air as they are at the moment is not a good idea. Because the next thing you know, everything I just said will be thrown up in the air again. The air may never settle. I hate to say it, but that's what we've been seeing lately. I will continue to keep an eye on it and do the best I can, all right? Now, I'm going to mention the RFK thing because we are eventually going to get to that deep dive, because we have to, apparently. Because now he wants to send those of us who are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds, if we have like PTSD or mental health issues, he wants us to go to organic farms and do forced labor to cure our depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues. Because he knows nothing about autism, I'm pretty sure he considers that a mental illness, even though it's a developmental disorder. We will be doing the deep dive into that because now my hand has been forced, and that is an immediate threat. We are on borrowed time when it comes to him. Any striking we need to do against this insanity has to be done now. It has to be loud. Okay? Just say. So yeah, a lot of things. It's been nuts. My head has been spinning just trying to keep track of it all. The way that special education is getting ready to be gutted, and the fact that I know, because I was in high school in the 90s, what happens when it is the state that is the head of special education, and through no fault of your own, you are stuck in a GOP hellscape red state? Yeah, I know what's going to happen there. I know what's going to happen there, but I got to let the dust settle, at least on some of it, except that I will probably, hopefully, start in on that tomorrow. Now, we're going to be doing a few videos. I might be backtracking. I don't know. It's been a minute since I got back to the JRC because I did so many pre-recordings. So, I think we left off, yeah, at RM. Let me go back up here. I was on here, I think. Yes, RM. Okay, we are going on to that last paragraph. We're just doing one video today because, like I said, my head is spinning. Send help. Send help and get all us vulnerable minorities the fuck out of here before things go from just being talked about to be honest, folks, I'm a fighter, you all know I am. I'm gonna dig in, more than likely start a fight, because that's what I do. But I'm not gonna sit here and act like there's not a piece of me that's scared as hell, because it is. You can sit there, oh, they're never going to do it. You've got major political figures who have extreme amounts of power that are saying this on major media outlets. If there is a time to panic and take things seriously while I still can and prep for it, now's the goddamn time. If we're wrong, at least we're prepped. If we're right, there's a plan. So, let me finish up on RM real quick. Again, I apologize if we've already gone over this. Upon his return to JRC, RM's behaviors had increased approximately 5 or 6 times that of his SIB and AB levels before departing the JRC. RM resumed ESD treatment, which again had an immediate and dramatic effect on RM's SIB and AB. RM no longer required the constant use of restraint. The way that the JRC cannot see, understand, or comprehend that just because it is not an actual physical tied to the chair restraint, that doesn't mean it's not a fucking restraint. How does somehow completely, if you create a device designed to pump an insane amount of electricity into the skin of an individual, you have multiple electrodes which are strategically placed on specific muscles that we as individuals use every day to be able to move around and be mobile. And if you shoot it with electricity, those muscles tense. And whatever movements are made due to that electricity being shot through the body is not in any way at all being caused by said person. You shoot enough electricity into the calf muscle of both legs, the person is going to drop and twitch, especially when said device operates, depending on, even at the lowest setting, 3 times more powerful than a police taser. And I'm supposed to believe that this is not somehow some form of restraint? Morons. I'm surrounded by hostile, evil, batshit insane morons who hate people like me for existing. I'm sorry, I'm not usually this down in the dumps, but mother of God. Mother of God. So yes, JRC, the GED device is every bit as much as a restraint as the restraints used to tie a person to a bed, because they provide the exact same function. They prevent the individual that the restraint is used on to be able to move of their own volition. Just because one is electricity or one's more of a traditional tie does not change that both methods are restraints. I'm getting very tired lately of my intelligence constantly being insulted. I'm just saying. Okay? I'm even stockpiling on water due to RFK's Jr.'s batshit insanity. It's been a hell of a month. Alright, sorry folks, you don't need to hear me ranting about that. Okay. First off, if you're using the GED on them, they are still in restraint. Basic Logic 101. I know it's a rare commodity these days, just take my word for it. Alright? Still a restraint. Number 2, when a person has experienced trauma, and then we are moved away from where the trauma is being inflicted upon us, acting out due to the horrific things that have been happening to us is not just completely normal, but there is an entire wing of psychiatry and psychology that deals with treating those types of individuals specifically. Usually called trauma-informed individuals. So JRC, the reason why you saw the behaviors increased once they left your hellhole is the exact same reason a child rescued from a horrifically abusive household will act out and have disturbing, scary like behaviors in school. That's neurotypical because it's coming from the same thing. Trauma. The only difference is because we are neurodivergent, we're not given the luxury of having understanding people around us who understand we've just gone through this utterly horrific thing. And that is why you may see behaviors that were never there before, or the problems that were never addressed properly in the first goddamn place happen more frequently and with more intensity. This is not the fault of the Hogan Regional Center. This is the fault of the JRC that inflicted RM for decades load of baggage that poor guy is having to deal with. And people are really going to act surprised. Let's continue. RM does not need psychotropic medication. He's able to provide himself with basic self-care and living skills such as feeding himself, using the bathroom, as well as communicate more effectively. A good majority of the drugs RM was on were not psychotropic medications. They were medications for seizures. If you take an epileptic off of a medication, do you have any idea what the risks are? These people can't even conceive of it. Every grand mal a person has an effect on the human brain. RM, just as in the previous person we went over, took those medications because he had epilepsy. Those medications had absolutely nothing to do with life skills and everything to do with trying to deal with epilepsy. Okay? Trying to treat it. You remove that medication, the risks skyrocket. And quite frankly, they should have been federally investigated for that, just for that alone. Just for that alone. By their own admittance. Let me bring another something up. But now he's taking care of it himself. He didn't do that without the GED. If you're neurodivergent and you have trauma, remember when I spoke to you all what burnout is. We will lose skills. And contrary to this little lie they're trying to sell you here, inflicting violence on us doesn't miraculously bring those skills back. Okay? They are addressing some specific things to make themselves look good. And probably holding back the areas in regards to skills that were lost so that they can cover their own ass. Okay? Number 2. Have you ever dealt with people that have post-traumatic stress disorder or another mental illness? I have post-traumatic stress disorder. When I was pulled out of the situation that I was pulled out of at 16, in spite of the fact that beforehand I was taking care of proper hygiene, part of that trauma response was going into autistic burnout, which means hygiene went out the window. Bathing, deodorant, it's embarrassing. but I'm doing this to make a point. It has been noted by more than just me that people who do deal with severe depression, PTSD, and a number of other mental illness issues, they have hygiene problems. Okay? It's part of dealing with it all. When you're neurodivergent, sometimes not even the neurodivergence. Okay? Now, say your answer to that is, well, I'm just going to go back to abusing him. And those traits will come back again. In the chance that they do, I need people like JRC and fuck it, people who practice ABA to understand something. This is no miraculous cure from you. They're doing what they have to do under duress. Do you really think it is goddamn okay that you terrify someone to the point that mindlessly they do whatever you tell them to because they are afraid of the torture and abuse you're going to rain down on them if they don't? How about the fact that we know the JRC will starve people knowingly if they don't act like a performing seal and follow every single command? Well, Tiffany, what's the problem? They were having problems with their hygiene, now they're taking care of their hygiene. Doesn't the end justify the means? If you are as psychotic as Donald Trump and as batshit insane as Elon Musk, maybe. But that's not how it works, kids, because guess what? When they are no longer under that duress, because now we've got more compounded trauma on top of the previous trauma that they were already dealing with for when they left the facility the first damn time. What are you going to think is going to happen with that hygiene? You can't force people to have great life skills under threat of violence and expect the lessons to stick. Okay? Okay. Well, then, what did it for you? Compassion. Being taken in by trauma-informed professionals who have dealt with kids like me, who've had severe trauma, to help me work through it all and come to grips to what the hell had happened to me in a healthy manner. And yeah, it did take time. It didn't all come back at once. And it was fucking hell. It was embarrassing. And to be quite blunt, I felt remarkably dehumanized, among other unkind, horrible things I told myself about myself at the time. The difference is, though, once the skills came back, once I started to take care of myself properly, it stuck with me. And the thing about hygiene in regards to trauma, in particular when it has to deal with abuse, one of the reasons why people like myself would willfully and knowingly sometimes absolutely neglect hygiene was to get our abusers so horrified and disgusted at us. You see where I'm going, right? Right? The only problem is we're dealing with the JRC. So they use that as the justification for more abuse. Okay? Let me continue. RM is able to participate in academic activities, and his dangerous behavior has decreased to a point where he can participate in numerous outings to the pool, water slides, cookout, outdoor activities, dances, and the zoo. I'm going to say this for the billionth time. I am tired of the entirety of the medical model absolutely insisting that what progress looks like is us participating in the same activities that seem to be enjoyed by our neurotypical peers. You want to know why it annoys me? Because I had zero fucking interest in them. Okay? Zero. Zero. I was never a decent athlete. I'm extremely competitive. Being both extremely competitive with piss poor hand-eye coordination and being a general disaster in sports and at PE. Sports were not entertaining or fun for me in any way at all. Okay? It brought my already piss poor self esteem at the time even lower down in my shoes than it had been before I was forced into those activities. But I'd paint a smile on my face and I would mask like hell. And even pretend that my piss poor performance didn't really bother me. Even while everybody else visibly laughed at me. So that afterwards I could be left the fuck alone. There are some activities that we share with neurotypicals that we enjoy. But the thing is, with these programs, we are never at any point in time asked within the ABA area what activities we want to do. But then you'd never go out in the public. Yes, I would. See, in prison center planning, I got to choose my own goddamn activities. So, we would go out in public, and we spend an afternoon at Barnes & Noble. Obviously, I am a major nerd, and home away from home that wasn't the library. I would also go to said library. We've got a massive one here that has a coffee shop that has sandwiches there. There would be another outing. I would like to go to the movies, but only with Mom, my comfort person, or my brother, who is my second comfort person. I do not like going in large groups because large groups require me to be social, and I always feel like I have to perform. That's a whole lot of pressure, folks. Especially when I'm not prepared for it. Okay, Tiff, be charming. But I'm a space cadet and my routine went sideways. I don't know, smile like an idiot then? I look like an axe murderer. Fine, let's go with it. It will work for now. Whether we can participate in the outings or not, we would like a little bit of consideration Because if these are supposed to be our rewards for being a good girl and boy and performing like a freaking circus animal, could we at least get a reward that we would actually enjoy? And also, ABA and the whole medical model, for the love of God, can we not make everything a goddamn teaching moment? We would like to blow off steam and not have to sit there and think about the consequences of every single interaction, which is one of the reasons why, folks, we don't like doing a whole lot of that crap that was in that list right there. Okay? Yeah. That's what I loved about person-centered planning. I make the decisions. Yes, I had my mom there to be the honest person that would catch the things that I was having trouble with that I wasn't catching at the time. That is true. But when it came down to outings and being social and working on social skills, I was the final nay or yay. With places like the JRC and ABA, they are going to try and force you into the activities that neurotypicals within the same age bracket enjoy. And for some reason, that makes no coherent sense to me. They think that that would be something you would enjoy too, you just didn't know how to do it properly. Like, nah. Nah, Karen, nah. Peace out. I'm gonna go read in my room for the next 3 hours. True story. In fact, that's what's coming next once we get this finished up. I'm sorry for babbling, folks, but by God, it feels good to let off some steam. I have never seen anything quite like what is going on with my national government right now. I don't even know what to tell the world. What do you even say? Other than get me the hell out of here before it gets worse. Because I'll be honest, we're scared to death. I don't like where this is going. But until worse comes worse, we're going to be here on this channel. We're going to go after JRC. We're going to go after Trump. We're going to go after RFK Jr. We're going to go after Elon. And we're going to go after every single other person that tries to systematically strip all the very hard earned with blood, sweat, and tears rights that we all fought for until we no longer can. In regards to RM, first off, him leaving the JRC when he did was already 2 decades late. He is not a school age kid. He has no business being inside a residential school program at his age. Transferring him over to adult services is completely normal. That is regular protocol. That's something we all go through right before we graduate high school and come into the adult world. RM, like every other one of us who have gone through trauma and are neurodivergent, got worse because he had the issues never properly dealt with. He now has trauma on top of it. And just like the abused child acting out once they get out of that situation, that's what was happening here. The response shouldn't have been to send him back to his abuser. The response should have been to get the appropriate trauma-informed expert as a part of the overall team to help assist and help him heal and process the things that were done and where we go from there. we're going to go ahead and head out for the night, folks. We don't get very many views on this channel, and the few we do get do tend to get removed from time to time. So please, folks, don't forget to hit the like button, hit subscribe. Don't forget to hit the comments. I do appreciate your time this evening. And as always, folks, we here at Spilling Tea hope you have a good one. I'll see you all tomorrow. God help us all. Bye-bye, everyone.